Creepy presents Beware the Icky Stairs, written by Sum Gigh, protected under Creative Commons license CC by NC, and produced by Steve Blizin. The moniker of the Icky Stairs, as unimposing as it may seem to the uninitiated, doesn't appear until 2018. Yet this is the name that stuck with people who've seen them and done the smart thing, stayed away. Intrepid digital investigators have found that mention of the Icky Stairs, or at least their description, can be traced back as far as 14th century Europe, then described in a single transcribed passage as a decrepit and foreboding, both in sight and smell, series of steps that demands children. In and of itself, this description is both ominous and confusing. Without context, this single sentence could just as easily have been lost in the wake of time, as the publication it was found in was a compendium of stories and accounts of the bubonic plague that would go down in history as the Black Death, the pandemic that ravaged Europe and parts of Africa from 1346 to 1353 AD, causing fatalities in the range of 75 to 200 million. Given the time, the squalid conditions, and the lack of explanation, a foreboding set of stairs would not have seemed so out of place. But it's the mention of children that links this first mention to the phenomena that would be known as Icky Stairs. While there hasn't been any specific link to children, and these so-called stairs that seem to mysteriously appear and disappear around the world, children are the ones who seem most apt to notice their presence. Simply doing an internet search for a term such as random stairs will provide results for any number of wooden or stone stairs in odd places, usually forests or overgrown parts of the world, places where these stairs may have once held a purpose. Some seem too out of place to be ruins, and are most often shrugged off as artistic expression, Photoshop hoaxes, or even elaborate pranks. The term Icky Stairs first originated on a popular internet forum. The original post was an open-ended question regarding the presence of haunted locations. The following is the direct quote from one of the replies. "I used to live in a haunted house. I don't know a better way to describe it, even though it's not what I would have thought of. There weren't any ghosts or anything like that, but sometimes the house was just wrong. I was alone watching my brother. I was in high school and he was 2, I think. He must have been, since he only used a couple words to describe things. Most of the time he just said no to everything and would giggle like a tiny crazy person. My dad used to call him happy-go-lucky. He was easy to watch, too. Never complained or threw tantrums, which is why I remember this one night so much, even all these years later. So we were playing in his bedroom, like all the lights in the house were on. I was like 16, but I still didn't really like being alone in the house at night when my parents were out, especially when my brother was there. He's running around, telling me no when I say it's bath time, just having a blast and doing this deep belly laugh, when he freezes at the child gate at the top of our stairs. I ask him what's wrong, and he takes a step back from the gate and points his chubby little finger at the gate and says, "Icky Stairs." I think that he somehow spilled something on the stairs, so I rush over, freaked that my parents are going to be pissed at me. And that's when I see that the lights are off downstairs. It's hard to explain, but our stairs are sort of their own hallway, more like a tunnel between floors, surrounded by walls except for the last 3 steps, which had a banister with slats, so it can look pretty dark, at least in the middle, even when the lights are on at both ends. But it wasn't that the lights were off that scared me. It still scares me. It's that I could see, just at the bottom of the stairs, on the other side of the banister, something was staring at us. In the dark, I couldn't make out a shape, but I could see what I can only describe as hands holding the slats of the rail, like a prisoner staring out of a jail cell. I was overpowered by this horrible smell, like a skunk had been hit by a truck and left to bake on the pavement. I swear I can still smell it now. Maybe I'll smell it for the rest of my life. I screamed because what the fuck else would I do? Grabbed my brother and locked us both in the room and called 911. When the cops got there, followed soon after by my completely pissed off parents, the lights were on at the bottom of the stairs. The cops had to break the door down because I refused to leave the room with my brother. They didn't find anything, but they said that they smelled something like a rat had died inside the walls. It wasn't a fucking rat. I tried to explain it to my parents, but they did what parents do. They didn't believe any of it, grilled me about being high. It turned into this thing my brother and I would say to each other when something was really bad, but we didn't want to talk about it. Just a code word between us. How was your day? Icky stairs. This story was followed by 10 other commentators describing moments when they couldn't bring themselves to use a particular set of stairs that they had used before. In every instance, the lights had been turned off, a powerful smell overwhelmed them, and people either saw or felt like something was watching them just beyond their clear range of vision. The original commenter went on in reply to the other stories, saying that he believed it had happened 2 more times before finally moving away to college, but he couldn't be sure. Both times he locked himself and his brother in his room, and didn't come out until morning. One commenter of note left the following message, the only message to appear on a newly created account. Good move, OP. There is no end to those stairs. The person who posted said comment didn't respond to any additional questions. It was from this story that the moniker of Icky Stairs first started to appear, first in comment responses to his story, then beyond. The history of the Icky Stairs is a bit more complex, as there is no common name appearing prior to 2018. It's only through common descriptions and accounts that the Icky Stairs are attributed as a resulting phenomena. For example, from the resignation letter of a master carpenter in Boston, Massachusetts, 1999, posted on an internet forum devoted to strange hiring and firing experiences. Dear Mr. Fisher, I'll cut to the chase. I've been doing this job for 22 years. I'm done. Those steps aren't right. I built them, I should know. They aren't right. They fucking stink and they're wrong. Get better security around here. This isn't funny. You said Greg quit, but I haven't heard from him since 3 nights ago. I quit. This may be the most specific example of someone indirectly providing details of the Icky Stairs, but it's far from the only example of related stories. The most disturbing part of the so-called Icky Stairs is that there's no identifiable pattern to when or where they'll appear. By appear, it isn't to give the impression that the stairs themselves look any different. In fact, by all accounts, there is no physical change beyond the lack of lighting. One commonality between all documented incidents is that it only appears to happen in the case of wooden stairs. It may be in a place of work, a public space, or even a personal residence. The phenomena have rarely been linked to the same place more than once, and never having lasted for more than a few hours. It only appears to happen to people who are alone, or in the presence of young children, who seem to have a heightened sense for its appearance and will not approach them, breaking down in tantrums when forced. The most common thread amongst stories believed to relate to this phenomena are not remembering or believing that you've left a light on at the top or bottom of the stairs, which is no longer on, a smell ranging from mild to severe that's out of place. Some have described it as rotten flowers, others as closer to natural gas, still others as the smell of death. A strange creaking in the stairs from those who've attempted to use them. A muffled whispering sound can be heard the further down the person descends. Note: the people who have shared their stories that claim to have gone down the steps have never gone more than 6 steps before stopping, feeling something wrong or that they were being watched before returning to their starting point. No one who has ever descended or ascended their stairs in this set of circumstances has ever shared their story. In recent years, one online account going by the handle Stairblazer has gone to their own lengths to document and track down stories of mysterious stairs, creating a now defunct blog about locations and circumstances of the stairs' appearances through shared first-hand accounts. Prior to their blog being closed, Stairblazer came to have verified that no less than 23 cases were true, debunking at least 100 others as just random creaking stairs. From a screenshot of Stairblazer's now deleted blog homepage. 3 rules will save your life. Don't use the stairs in the dark. Don't shrug off any creaking that sounds out of place. And if you feel like you're being watched, you are. Efforts to reveal why the blog ended have only suggested that the payment had lapsed and the domain closed. No posts from Stairblazer have appeared on internet forums since the blog closure. Unfortunately, the only thing that remains of Stairblazer's work exists in a smattering of screenshots across the internet, left to passing speculation, vague memories, and, more often, mockery. To date, 5 entries of Stairblazer's blog have been recovered in screenshots, the first of which, also the original blog entry, was found on Tumblr. The entry is dated December 1st, 2018. When I was a kid, I used to imagine I was a ninja. When my parents would go to bed and I wanted to watch TV, I'd wait until their lights turned off under their door and I'd ease my bedroom door open. I found there was a trick where if I pressed my hand against the door as I turned the handle, the lock wouldn't click open. Then it was just a matter of walking past their door and down the stairs. I'd imagine the carpet was rice paper, and step so gently as to not leave a single mark like Kane in Kung Fu. I knew where to step and how so the floor wouldn't creak. I knew the angle to go down the stairs just right so there wouldn't be a single sound. Cable TV with promises of nudity was my reward. Don't judge, I was 14. One night I was on my way, like I'd done a dozen times before. But this time it was different. Mom used to put a nightlight in the kitchen in case anyone had to get up. She started doing it when I was a baby, so she didn't have to worry about finding a light switch for late night feedings, and it stuck. The light being there actually helped me too, since it cut down on the light from the TV in case I heard anyone upstairs start to move around. I was so used to the glow of the light that I hadn't even gotten to the top of the stairs when I realized something was wrong. It didn't click right away, and even when it did, I just assumed it was a burnt out bulb. At the first step, I noticed the smell, like a dirty diaper, but so much worse. At the second step, I felt the creak and groan from the stair beneath the carpet so strong it rippled through my bones. That step never, and I mean never, squeaked before. Of all the things in my life, I knew those stairs. I knew the sounds. I froze, terrified that my parents would wake up. I was already coming up with reasons why I'd be going downstairs when I heard the whispering. It was so fast it sounded like someone had left a faucet on. I couldn't wrap my mind around why that would be, and my body took another step. The next step, which did creak, but never on the side where I stepped, echoed through the house. At least that's what it felt like. And the whispering got louder. It was still fast, but I could hear pauses, the gaps between words. I just stood there in my t-shirt and sweatpants, staring into the darkness. I couldn't see anything, even giving my eyes time to adjust. It was just pure and absolute darkness. And the whispering didn't stop. And there was a smell, like food left out. But Mom never went to bed with dishes in the sink. I wasn't having any of it. I didn't know if my parents were pranking me, knowing what I'd been up to the entire time or what, but I hustled back to my room and closed the door. I never tried to sneak out again. Up until last week when I read a similar account, I thought it was a half-remembered dream from years prior, and maybe I could have shrugged it off to coincidence, but it was too much like my experience, and it sounds like I'm not alone. I need to know more. End of entry. The chronological second screenshot is marked as the blog's 4th post and appears to be OP responding to critics of his previous posts and a theory that was posited at some point. The screenshot was found on a 4chan X forum. It's dated March 3rd, 2019. Note: Stairblazer only once uses the term Icky stairs and adamantly argues against the usage, as the comical name undermines the severity of the occurrences. He simply refers to them as the stairs. In response to commenters who have called me all kinds of crazy names, let me explain. I'm not saying that everyone who's ever disappeared was because of the stairs. What I'm saying is that there's no tracked statistics that I can find where the last place a person was found was at or near a set of stairs. Or more importantly, when people were in their own homes and just disappeared. These are important details that get lost and can't just be written off as someone running off or even a kidnapping. I think the stairs happen more often than anyone realizes. I don't know how and I don't know why, but that doesn't change that it happens. People need to start respecting the reptile part of their brain that's warning them that something's wrong. The part that reacts to weird sounds at night, weird feelings that they can't explain. I think that it's an evolutionary response to danger that we don't understand. And I think that the thing in the darkness that no one can identify, that sensation of being watched, has been watching us for a very long time. On the plus side, I was able to track down someone who I think knew someone who disappeared on the stairs on a cold case sub. I only talked via direct message and she refused to state her real name. I'll paste her story below and you can judge for yourself. I don't know what you want me to say. Like I said on the post, the last time I heard from my boyfriend we were talking on the phone. He was running late for our date. He'd just gotten out of the shower and I remember hearing him stomping down the stairs. He had the heaviest feet in the world. He said something about a blown fuse and I heard him stomp down 3 or 4 stairs. And then nothing. I looked at my phone thinking the call was dropped, but it wasn't. I said hello like 3 or 4 times and hung up. That was the last I saw him. The police didn't find any trace. No signs of forced entry. His car was still in the parking garage. The only things gone were whatever he would have been carrying with him, like a wallet and his phone, and the clothes he was wearing. He was just gone. That was 3 years ago. I don't believe he's dead. I can't. I didn't want to be the one to tell her, but I've never come across an instance of someone coming back from the stairs once they've committed to their descent. End entry. The chronological 3rd entry is marked as the blog's 12th entry and dated June 12th, 2019. I wish I could just keep to looking up incidents of the stairs. It'd be easier if I could just keep my head down and do searches on the different subs to see what I can find. But the same thing just keeps coming back over and over again. Why? Why do the stairs appear at all? I guess it doesn't matter so much about how long they're around because I can't figure that out, and no one who I've linked to the stairs so far has any idea of what they were dealing with. I'm starting to wonder if it's random or just complicated. It could be an act of God. Genesis 28:12 says, "And he dreamed, and behold there was a ladder set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold the angels of God were ascending and descending on it." Well, what if the stairs are the antithesis of the stairway to heaven? What if they're the direct path to hell, opening and closing on the whim of some deity? The Quran has mention of the ascending stairways. Judaism has the belief that Jacob's ladder signifies an exile the Jewish people have to suffer before coming to the Jewish Messiah. Are the stairs punishment? Are the people who have disappeared on them in some kind of purgatory? Are they inherent sinners or people who need to have their faith tested? Or is it random? Do the stairs appear to everyone at some point in their lives, and it's just the unlucky ones that have ever noticed them in the first place? By the fourth chronological entry, dated October 13th, 2019, there appears to be an evident breakdown in stairgazer's mental state. An obsession for the stairs coupled with what seems to be a budding phobia is present. If this is a sudden occurrence or something that's been building in the 4 months between entry screenshots, it's not clear. I moved today. My old roommate moved out to live with his girlfriend and I couldn't afford rent anymore. I know that doesn't matter to anyone reading this, but it's important to me. I had to find a place fast, and the only apartment I could find in my price range is a second-floor studio apartment across town. I've never lived alone before. That's part of the reason why I'm typing this, to keep my mind focused. I don't have any new postings or theories, I just wanted to talk to someone, I guess. I thought about going out to get a slice of pizza, but as soon as I got to the stairs, I stopped. I couldn't bring myself to go down them. The lights were all on, no weird smells except for the curry that seems to be simmering in the building 24 hours a day. I just stood there until someone literally ran into me, bumping me out of the way. I didn't even notice them coming. I think I need to take a break from this for a while. It's getting inside my head too much. They're just stairs. They are just stairs. End entry. The final screenshot that's been uncovered is also the last to have been recorded on the blog. Over 500 comments were left on the post prior to the site being closed down. It was dated January 12th, 2020. People think it's random. They think it's coincidence, but it's not. I know because I can see it. Because I can hear it. I just stepped out of my apartment to go meet some friends and the hallway light was out. It's never out. The stairs outside my door are dark too. There's a smell. I'm bringing my camera. Time for proof. End entry. There are no records of Stairblazer having created a new account, or made any further comments on sites that they had previously frequented. No one has a name or picture of Stairblazer's true identity, and while it's speculated that they're male, even that's just an assumption. For all intents and purposes, the blogger known as Stairblazer no longer exists. All that remains are the screenshots of the work representing over 2 years of a person's life. Perhaps most chilling of all is the last comment left on the final blog entry, left by an anonymous user stating, "You should have listened. There's no end to those stairs." Followed by a copy-paste of the original lines of the blog. 3 rules will save your life. Don't use the stairs in the dark. Don't shrug off any creaking that sounds out of place. And if you feel like you're being watched, you are.